So last week was Thanksgiving, and everyone got to spend time with their friends and family. Hopefully, some of you got to spend some time with people who you haven't seen in a long time. Like me, I got to spend time with some people who I haven't seen in over a year plus, which was really nice. And the funny thing about holidays, or really any event where people gather together that you haven't seen in a long time, people will ask you, what are you doing with your life? What's going on? What's happening? And I kind of had a funny situation happen this past week where I was talking with someone who I haven't seen in a while, and they asked me, they were like, what's going on in your life? And what came to mind was these day jobs that I have. So that's what I told him. I told him, you know, I have a couple day jobs. That's what I'm doing. I actually just got off work from one of them when I met up with him. And I said, you know, this is what I'm doing nowadays. And he looked at me. He was like, "That's great, man. But like, what do you want to do?" Because he could see that I wasn't too happy with the answer that I gave him. I just kind of told him what I was doing. So he asked me, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And I kind of laughed. I was like, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? This is what I want to do. I gave him my business card. I said, this is where I'm going, is Parliament Media Collective. He laughed at me, kind of. He said, man, why don't you lead with that? Why don't you tell people that that's what you do, instead of just telling them about all the part-time jobs that you have? I was kind of taken aback by that. I was like, yeah, you know, I guess why don't I lead with that? Ever. I never do. It made me think about this book, actually, and I've referenced it before, but I love this book. If you ever get a chance to read it, read this book. It's The $100 Startup by Chris Galibo. I think that's how you pronounce his name. But there's something in that book, and I even have it written on my freaking mood board. I look at it every day, but I never put it into practice, and I realize that. I realize that I don't put it into practice as much as I want to, but there's something that happens. There's like 3 different categories that people put themselves in, and these are the 3 categories. You ever come across those people that just only talk about the things that they want to do, and they never really do them? You see it on Facebook, but if you ever see them in person, it's the same thing. Like, they always talk about like what they're doing and like this grand idea, but you never see the fruits of their labor. And this is something that he brings up in this book that I just mentioned. It's a charlatan. They score very high in the talk, but not a lot of work to show for it. Never be a charlatan. They never get anything done. Don't be a charlatan. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have people who end up going off doing their own thing and working a bunch, and you never see them or hear from them ever. And you're like, are they dead? These are martyrs, right? And they do a lot of work, but they never talk about what they do. And I think that, like my online life, I have a pretty decent balance between talk and work, but in real life, when it comes to people asking me about what I do or where I'm going, I end up falling somewhere right in the middle of that spectrum, because I don't often think, even mentioning, Parliament Media Collective is where I'm going. Now, right in between those two, you have a group of people who actually get things done and have a healthy balance between talk and work. And that's the group that you really want to be in. These people aren't annoying on Facebook, and they aren't annoying in real life, because the people who actually do the work that they talk about are making a real change. And that's super healthy to see. And these people are incredibly progressive. That's what you want to be, in that checkmark zone. It got me thinking, especially with more holidays to come, because we got Christmas coming up. And, I don't know. I see a lot of people who are doing a lot of really great things, and they have a lot of talk and a lot of things to show for it. And I don't know. I just want to encourage you, those people, with Christmas coming up and more holiday events coming up, talk about your work and be proud of it. All right. I got to go see a man about a dog sled. Look at this guy.
I was on the text. I was like, where the fuck?
Thank you very much. So this guy right here is going dog sledding in a couple of weeks. Where are you going?
We'll be going to Canada, to Banff National Park, to meet a friend out there, and gonna see if I don't die dog sledding. We'll see.
His life is really cool. I'm just there it is.
We'll see how cool it is. It's gonna be really cold for a minute.